Hello, welcome to Live with Gotham Quilts for the second time around in the new iteration of Live with Gotham Quilts. I'm Yvette, and this is Allison. Say hi, Allison.
Hello,
Everyone
Allison.
remembers from last week, Allison is the new owner of Gotham Quilts, and we have re-implemented our lives on Tuesday nights. So we're going to be live into your Facebook or your YouTube, wherever you'd like to watch us better. Tuesday nights at 6:30 Eastern time, just like we used to, and then we stopped, and now we're starting again.
Or
So
the replay.
yes, and hopefully you guys are all keeping cool. It is insanely hot here in New York City, and I am very grumpy about it. But I'm going to pretend I'm not grumpy because today we're going to talk about something that I had never heard about before. But Allison is doing this. Is it promotion? Is the right word? Program? What did you say?
A sew along.
Sew along. Yes, that's a much more reasonable term. So there's this sew along thing that is launching today, and when Allison told me about it, I was like, oh, we should definitely tell the Gotham people about that because we we had never even heard of this thing before. And then Allison explained it to me, and I was like, okay, I think people are going to want to know about this. So then that became our live for today. So why don't I let Allison take over and tell us all about it?
Well, thank you so much. And to echo you, Yvette, I hope wherever you are staying cool. I happen to be in the great state of Pennsylvania today, which is decidedly not cool, but very
Oh, it's
rainy.
raining.
I'm in Western Pennsylvania. It rained a little bit and then it stopped and then it rained a little bit, which I think is pretty much on par with Western Pennsylvania. So if there's anybody watching who's hipper on the weather than I am, let me know. But yeah, so that's today. In any event, Mystery 50. The reason that I bring up the weather is because this is a super fun mystery. I'll give it a mystery with an asterisk, sew along. And the theme is all about tropical. So if you are not loving the weather where you're at, if you're, uh, this might be a great way to kind of take you out of that, get you into your sewing room, and think of things tropical and paradise related. Mystery 50 is the company that is helping us launch this particular sew along. And it is a full year of quilts, although you do not have to participate in all quilts. There's going to be one a quarter, so four a year. We'll have four total. The great news is that if you do participate in all four quilts, you're going to get a bonus mystery quilt at the end of it all. And that's completely free of charge. It is also tropical themed, which I think is fabulous. So the first quilt is the one that we're starting right now, and this one is called Aloha. And you'll notice that they all have very tropical paradise themed names. So Aloha is going to be a mystery delivered into your email inbox. For over 5 weeks, I believe. The first clue will launch on Wednesday, August 6th. And so you get a clue each Wednesday throughout the month of August. And then in September, that first September 3rd, that first Wednesday in September, you will get basically your final clue, and that is going to give you the option of two different setting uh, templates, however you want to set your blocks. So that's kind of what I like about this mystery. I had said mystery asterisk in that I'm when I'm sewing. I don't know about you, Yvette, but I don't love to put my project completely in someone else's hands. I like to have a
Yeah.
little control over it, right? Um, and so that's what I like about this particular mystery is not only do you get to see all of the fabric up front that's going to go into your quilt, but you at the end get to decide, does it look better this way or that way? How do I want to arrange it to make it fit my personal
And
taste?
how big a quilt are we making?
Throughout the year, so all four quilts are going to be lap
Okay,
size quilts. This one is actually going to finish at 56 by 72 inches, so pretty good lap
that's
size.
cool.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Aloha here. Like I said, you get the clues delivered each week into your email box. Rest assured, we are going to do fun stuff. There's videos to help you through. You might ask, kind of the question that we get most often is, who is this for? Is there crazy stuff? Is this super difficult? And this one, I would say, yeah, if you are let's call it a confident beginner, what I can tell you, I can't tell you a lot about what it looks like, but what I can tell you is there is no funny stuff in this. There's no curves, there's no applique, there's nothing that might cause you heartburn. This is squares, rectangles, and some triangles in like a flipped
So just
stitch
regular machine piecing, basically.
Regular machine
That's
piecing. Certainly if you want to zhuzh it up, if you want to add some applique on there, there's an opportunity to do so. But I think the quilt is beautiful enough just.
And is there any like teaser picture or anything for the Aloha quilt?
I can give you some teasers of the
fabric. Okay. Well, we all love fabric.
Yes, but I cannot. I am sworn to secrecy. They will take my quilting license away if I give much more than
be
that.
Banned from Mystery 50 forever, right?
I will, and then I will have to wear a scarlet letter that indicates I cannot keep a secret.
Like, you can't tell Allison anything, apparently.
Nope. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to get me in trouble. But I can share some fabric. Let's go ahead and do that while we're talking, because they're probably a little bit more compelling than just looking at my big face here. So here are some of the, we'll give it a second. Here are some of the pictures. So this is the first kit that we made. And there are a couple of things that I wanted to point out is, like I said, you get to see all of the fabric that's included in here. And so this one starts with a strip pack. This quilt is designed to be used with 2.5-inch strips. So this is going to be all batiks. It's an island batik line called Flour Sack. And what I found really compelling about this one is the variety of colors that go into it. The other piece that I wanted to point out, and I feel like you don't see this super often, is this super dark black batik. It's really hard to do really dark batiks well, and this line really did. So that's why we picked it for this. And when you're thinking of the islands, if you're thinking of paradise, you naturally go to batiks, right? So while the project is very much tropical themed, your fabric does not have to be. Pick what you like.
So I have a question. You get it comes with a layer cake in the pack and then more coordinating fabric?
It comes with a strip pack, so 2.5-inch strip or jelly roll, depending on what brand you're getting it from. So you'll get the strip pack. You'll also get 4 other pieces of fabric, and I'll point them out here. You'll get 2 contrasting fabrics, so that's this red one and then this black floral here. Those are your contrasting fabrics. You'll get background, which kind of blends into the background here. That's this one. And then lastly, you'll get your fabric for your binding.
Okay, cool. So I think
so the strip pack and then all the fabrics.
Since we know that this is built off a jelly roll, we kind of have a clue about how the pieces are cut also, because the whole reason to use pre-cuts is to cut out a step when you're cutting fabric, right? So since you're starting with 2.5-inch strips for most of your fabric, you know that you're going to be subcutting a 2.5-inch strip to get all the pieces cut to do whatever step that you're on.
Certainly. That is a very that's a good clue without giving too much away.
I literally know nothing about this, so I can't give anything away. But I do think that that's a helpful thing for people to know, especially when you're thinking about the difficulty level, the commitment that you're putting in, right? If you're starting with a jelly roll, then you know that it's not as much work as it could be if you were starting with regular cuts of fabric, and then you would first have to subcut into 2.5-inch strips and then cut into whatever. After that.
Absolutely. Yep. So if you're looking for a quick start, one of these kits is
so my next
great.
question. You said that you put together that kit we were just looking at. Does that mean that each store designs their own fabric poles?
Okay. Absolutely. Which is one of the things I love about local quilt shops is there's going to be really almost no 2 across the country that are the same. And so sometimes half the battle is just finding a local quilt shop that vibes with you, that likes the same thing you like. And so you're absolutely right, Yvette. There are other shops around the country putting on a Mystery 50 event. Um, and so they, like us, are going to put together kits that fit their vibe. And these ones really, I think, reflect the vibe of Tiny Apples. So that's another great thing for the Gotham fam to keep in mind is when you're looking at this, uh, I think that our sensibility is pretty close to Gotham's and Andrea in her buying, but we're going to be different. We're not always going to agree on the same things, and you might see some things at Tiny Apple that either you saw at Gotham before or you didn't, and so really it's just picking a vibe that you
And
like.
so are you already taking orders for these packs?
Yep, so the orders are open. That's what went live today is we were officially able to start packaging up and delivering out our kits. So if any of these strike your fancy, feel free to head on over to Tiny Apple for this one. I think we're going to have to keep the two websites separate in that this is where they live over
right. This is a Tiny Apple program, but we're also telling Gotham Quilts people because we think Gotham Quilts people are going to like it. I'm going to pop the QR code up on the screen real quick. So this, if you scan the QR code on your screen, this will take you to the Tiny Apple website, the page on Mystery 50, not Hawaii 50. It's Hawaii themed.
I think that was intentional.
So all the information is on this page if you scan this QR code, and then once we're finished with the live, I'm going to put the same link in the description of the video, so that it'll be easy for people to go there and look at all the options. When will you be shipping the quilt bundles?
We are shipping them this week. So when you order it, you'll be able to get it pretty soon, which actually is a really great segue into this particular kit. So that you had mentioned before, isn't it? And this one, I do want to be very clear. You do not have to pick Hawaiian or Paradise themed fabrics, but for this one, we did. We leaned in and picked. These are all grunges, and so grunges comes in. I can't even remember 300 different colors or so.
Do you carry
at Tiny Apple? We are huge fans.
Do you carry a lot of grunge?
We carry a lot of grunge. We don't have the entire collection, but we're not far off. That's the goal.
There's a lot of grunges that are kind of very similar to each other, and it's like I don't know why anyone would want all four of these beiges or whatever, but Gotham people definitely like grunge, I think. So if you're looking for a solution for grunge, Allison's your girl. But these colors, they're just so pretty.
Well, and that was the idea, is to invoke a Hawaiian sunset as you're working on this Paradise themed quilt. And so this one is actually starting with yardage. And so it's going to be perfect for those people who want these specific colors, because there's no jelly roll. I'm sorry, Moda doesn't offer this jelly roll in these colors. But it's perfect for someone who wants a very specific color. It's also perfect for people who like to size their fabric. I'm a big starcher, and when you starch, it's going to shrink a little bit, and so you don't necessarily want to do that with your pre-cuts, especially if you need the full width, that's full 2.5 inches.
Do you pre-wash and then starch?
Nope, I'm too lazy for pre-washing.
So us in New York, none of us really have washing machines, right? So like, the rule for anyone watching who doesn't know, the rule is always either you pre-wash everything or you pre-wash nothing. What you don't want to do is mix pre-washed fabrics with non-pre-washed fabrics, because they're going to shrink in a slightly different way. So whenever we were teaching and people would ask us, should I pre-wash our fabrics? Our rule was always, no. Why are you going to add another step, right? Like, feels like having to take your fabrics to the laundromat. No one's doing that, right? But if I lived in the
you're lucky that I wash my clothes.
If I had my own washing machine, maybe I would pre-wash, and maybe I would starch more. I usually only starch stuff that's like kind of stretchy, like Essex linen, or like regular quilting cotton. I usually don't starch, but you probably would get more accurate results if you did starch. So I'm not saying you shouldn't starch. It's just an extra step that I do not do. In this kit, which color is the background?
In this kit, I will point to it. It is going to be this tan or sand color.
It's pretty.
Yep. You can see a little bit bigger of a triangle over here. So in this particular one, you've got your rainbow of colors here, your sunset of colors, and that's all considered fabric one. So in the other kit where we saw the strip pack, this is taking the place of that strip pack. You've got your accent colors here, and these were designed to get the feel of the ocean waves, and those blues and kind of tealy colors. And then, as you mentioned, we've got our background here of the sand. So this one might be a little literal, but
it's
we
so
love
great.
it.
And like we did so much stuff with that sort of sunset thing. So this is very Gotham looking to me. Andrew would love it.
Nice. It's this one is one of our favorites. So that's that. Now you might ask, we get asked this all the time, is what if people at home have fabric that they want to use? Now, while we would love you to love the kits that we put together, there's no doubt that we have stashes that we want to use, or we have that fabric that is just too perfect to pass up for this kind of a project. There's another way to join too. So you can join the sew-along by purchasing one of the kits. You could also join by buying a $50 gift certificate. And the gift certificate is a special one. It's available at the same place on the link that I have put up before. So if you scan that QR code, that's going to bring you to where the information is. But getting that gift card will also get you entry into the sew-along, where you get the clues each week, you get access to the videos and the fun story, which I didn't talk about yet. But that's another great way to participate if you want to use your own stash. You don't need to do both. You don't need to get a kit and a gift card unless you really wanted to. One or the other will get you.
Cool. Yeah, so for people who have tons of fabric and they don't really care about buying a pre-selected kit, they can buy the gift certificate, and we always are buying something eventually, right? So, and that'll get you in and get your clues, and then you pick your own fabrics from your own stash.
Yep. Important thing to keep in mind with the gift certificate is it's used just like any other gift certificate. So it's good for anything in the store, fabric, furniture, notions, sewing machines, anything you want to get. It's good for that. Furniture. Yep. I mean, you might need to add a little to it for
I'm just thinking about what a pain it must be to ship furniture. I don't want to. I'm glad I don't have to do that part.
It's not too. It's there are systems in place that are really good at shipping furniture. So you can get it flat packed, so where you assemble it yourself, or you can get it delivered I guess installed wherever you'd like it. They call it the white glove service, although they don't actually.
Yes, that would be a little much.
It would be, but really kind of fun, I think.
This one's pretty.
So this is just another example of one that starts with a strip pack. So if you want to get right to the sewing, this would be a great one. And this is a newer line by Riley Blake. It's called Floral Reflections, I believe, of just these floral batiks. And one thing I want to point out about this one is might be a little hard to see in one of the pictures, but this particular image right here, this one has a really unique way of making batiks, and that you have your normal ones where they take the chop with the wax and they dye it and they dye it again and wax it again, but it also has a painted batik. Have you heard of a painted batik?
I don't think I've ever seen one.
It's really quite lovely. To contrast it from a regular batik, there really is a right side and a wrong side on this, because it's the same way as a regular batik, and then it's painted. Some of the color is painted on just the right side of it, and it gives it just this really cool effect. So we do have some of that fabric in the shop, but it also is part of this strip pack, this jelly roll.
Is that a new technique? Like, did they just kind of come up with that, or do you know, or has that existed before?
I'm not sure. Like, as far as fabric goes, from mass manufacturers, I'm pretty sure it's a new kind of a novel thing. Yeah. If you're interested in batiks, make sure to keep your eye on Riley Blake, because they are doing some really creative stuff.
Which is interesting, because we never bought batiks from Riley Blake out of all the other places. So yeah, there's so many manufacturers. So it's like, and there's so many things you can buy on the market. It's impossible for any store to sell everything, right? So there's
it is.
Oh, this is pretty too.
Yeah. Gorgeous colors. This is a newer line from Andover. The designer has just a beautiful eye for color, and it was our goal to get these pictures to kind of show the range there. This earthy, kind of fun, vibrant rainbow of colors. And this one I'll point out actually because you'll notice this doesn't look like
It
a
looks a
jelly
little
roll.
big.
I'm trying to get our tag. It's pretty big, yeah. This one is our house-made apple peel. So for Tiny Apple, we sell apple peels, and what an apple peel is it's 6 inches by width of fabric. I'm trying to get people to call it like a really swole jelly roll or a jelly roll that works out. It's just not catching on.
Or it's like a jelly roll that needs a diet.
Jelly roll that needs a diet. We don't body shame jelly rolls here.
Sorry, right.
Yeah, so this is another one. If you like to size your fabric, it's a little closer to the jelly roll because you get the strip of fabric as opposed to yardage that you're cutting down. But you do have some extra fabric in here if you do like to size or starch your fabric.
And what did you say you called the 6-inch?
What did you say? We call it an apple
Okay,
peel.
cool.
Yeah, we got real cute with the name.
Yeah, I mean, and you kept away from the Moda baking theme, so you won't get sued, hopefully.
I hope not, right? Because
So if you didn't get what I was referring to watching, all the trademark names for pre-cuts are Moda's names, and they're all baking related. So layer cake, jelly roll. Whereas if you're not Moda and you're selling that same kind of pre-cut, you can't call it jelly roll or layer cake because those are trademarked brands that Moda has registered, right? So if you buy a 2.5-inch design roll, that's the name of it. If you buy it from like, I don't know, Free Spirit, they call it a design roll, right? And what I was saying is she named it apple peel, which isn't a baking term, so therefore Moda can't get mad.
Exactly. I hope it's not too close being food related, but so far we've gotten no letters from Moda to say stop.
And you just
which is why I'm actually trying to be. Yeah, right. Speaking of Moda, trying to be very conscious in calling it a strip pack instead of
jelly roll.
A jelly roll. Yeah. So speaking of, this is a jelly roll by Moda. So we can
actually a jelly roll.
It actually is a jelly roll. This one is the Chelsea Garden line, and this one has kind of a cute story. A couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago at this point, I was in Texas, in Dallas, for an event hosted by Moda, the fabric company, and they called it Modavation, which I thought was very clever and punny. And it's where shop owners from across the country gather around in the Moda headquarters and do all kinds of fun stuff. It was a blast. It was great to meet other shop owners from around the country. It was great to meet. We had so many designers come in and give little schoolhouses. We had Melody Miller from Ruby Star come in and talk about certain things that are really, really very meaningful to Ruby Star. So it was fabulous to meet all these designers. One of the things that was so fun is that, actually two things, is we got to play with all this new fabric before it even came out. And so to hear from the designer the thought that went into designing that fabric or the project that goes along with it, tips and tricks on how they approach this particular quilt or this particular item was just really, it was fabulous. It was a great event. It was so inspiring.
You got to shop in the warehouse, right?
We got to shop at the warehouse, which is where I'm getting to on this one. And so the Moda warehouse is really just a sight to be seen. So this Chelsea Garden line, it was one of my favorite that was designed by the in-house designers at Moda. So it's not like one designer that you could pin to. It's the group all together, and it is just gorgeous. Chelsea Garden, it has these really lovely jewel tones. It's got these big, beautiful, kind of 70s inspired flowers, florals. And it also has the most beautiful paisleys I have ever seen in this fabric. But what struck me with this, and you can kind of see it in the jelly roll here, are these gorgeous jewel tones that peek through irrespective of what the actual fabric is, what the design is. And so this is a line that we had at Tiny Apple for a while, and it flew off the shelves. I was surprised at how quickly we sold out of this, and it seems like a lot of people liked it because we couldn't order anymore, and I was very sad and moved on with my life, although it was just, a little scar on my heart for a very long time here. And so walking through the Moda warehouse, it was almost like the sky had opened inside the warehouse, and there was this ray of light shining down. Exactly. There were little angels in the corner singing, and birds were chirping, and there was this pack of jelly rolls, and I thought, oh my gosh, does anybody else see this? Do they know that this is here? So I grabbed the pack of jelly rolls. I held it very tightly because I did not want them to say, oh, I'm so sorry, ma'am, we are using that for something else and you cannot have it. So I walked around the Moda warehouse and finally went to check out, and they said, wow, this is the last one in existence. It's yours. And so I got to walk out of the Moda warehouse with a pack of jelly rolls for Chelsea Garden. And the reason I got it was specifically for this project.
So this has got to be a really limited edition design, right? Or what are you calling them, kits or fabric packs, or?
You go and call them kits.
So you must not have a lot of this one.
We do not. So if you like it,
don't delay.
Don't delay. But if there's any left over, it's mine.
It sounds like you were going to be annoyed if you don't get yourself one.
I did pull some of the fabric for a project of my own, which is, it's the perk of being a quilt shop owner, is being able to pull those things for yourself. So I do have a little bit of this fabric, but wanted to share the beauty of this particular line with any of our Mystery 50 friends.
Yeah, it's really
to join it. But it's gorgeous jewels in that one. And of course, we could not call ourselves a Tula loving shop and not have a Tula loving kit. So this one, we have named it I Heart Tulip Pink. And we start with the True Colors 2025 line. And so that's going to be this up here. You can see this is much bigger than a strip pack or jelly roll. This is one of our apple peels, so that's 6 inches by width of fabric. That jelly roll, that works out, yeah. Still not catching on, huh?
Apple peel.
No. And so we've got some Tulip Pink, I guess, accessories here as the contrast fabric from, bonus points if you could tell me what line this is from.
Daydreamer?
No. A little more recent than that. This is from
From which one?
The Besties.
Oh, Besties. You're right. It's new. Yeah, you're right. My brain has lost track of time. Yeah.
Well, if anybody in the audience got that before we announced it, super cool points to all of you. So these are the two contrasting fabrics, and then this one is almost impossible to photograph, but it is also, the background is from the True Colors 2025 line. It's a white on white, and so you do get some texture there in the background to just add a little pop. But we did not want to compete with these beautiful colors here, so we didn't go too crazy with it.
Cool.
And then this one is another one. If you like beautiful, bright colors, this is called Rainbow Bright. And it starts with a rainbow apple peel here.
And is that stripe for binding?
The stripe is for binding. Gorgeous stripe. It's Alice in Glass. It's the new line. But I will point out there's enough of the binding fabric if you want to do a bias binding, if you want that rainbow stripe to be like the kind of candy cane or barbecue effect.
We love a stripe binding.
Yeah.
It's like that. I would say like more than 50% of our kits and everything had a stripe binding. It's just so pretty and no extra work,
Yeah, exactly. You could just cut it straight and get a really, really cool and fun effect. So yeah, we also love a striped binding.
This is
So all this to say, these are the kits that we put together. There's has so far has been enough interest where, I don't know, maybe keep your eyes open. I think we're going
Might
to
make
be
some
doing
more.
a couple different kits as well.
I'm,
I think we're going to make
how
some
many
more.
colors was like the minimum that they said to make a kit?
Yeah, that's a really great question. The minimum number of colors is 2 plus 2 contrasts in
Okay.
your background. So if you're looking at this, instead of this apple peel or jelly
Nice.
roll, the minimum would be 2
Okay.
different colors.
Yeah, I was thinking, I wonder,
And we did,
since all of yours were very colorful, I wonder how it would look in like a neutrals or like tonal, like all blues or, yeah.
Mhm. Oh, actually, let me let's see here. I will stop sharing for just a second, and then I have one more to show you with that. But as we're pulling that up, just wanted to go over. So there was a QR code at
I'll put
the
it back up.
beginning of the show here, and we'll put it back up here. This is going to give you the link to some more information if you want some more details. But high level here, this is a year-long mystery. You decide which quilts you want to participate in. You could do one, you could do all four, you could do anything in between. If you do all four, you get a bonus one at the end. You get clues delivered to your email, and lots of fun stuff along the way. The other piece that I didn't talk about is the Laura videos.
Oh, the mystery part.
Now,
yeah.
The mystery part of this. So the quilt is a mystery, but there's also a fun story that goes along with it. And I am completely obsessed with this character, Laura. She is an FBI agent. She has resigned. I'm not, no spoiler alerts here. This is all part of her
Do you want me
story.
to share their site where they talk about her?
Yeah, that would be lovely. So Laura is on this journey with us to sew this quilt. There are fun videos that go along with it as well to tell you more about Laura's story. But it's just kind of like a fun little thing to do to get you excited about the quilt. What is going on in Laura's life and her story kind of coincides with what's going on with the quilt. The high level of Laura is she was with the FBI. She uses her superpower of quilting to help her solve these mysteries.
And it's like a Nancy Drew kind of vibe, right?
It is, yeah. There's nothing too scary or weird there. There's no murder or anything like the last mystery. Someone who was recently engaged had her ring stolen, and so Laura needed to figure out who it was, who done it. Kind of. I think
is the term cozy mystery. Like, it's like you don't get stressed out reading about these mysteries. It's lighthearted and fun, you know.
I think if that's not the term, I think it definitely should be. Yeah, so very, I would say, cozy mysteries, I think is a good way to put it.
Yeah, so this is all the stuff that came out already in preparation for the launch. And then is it that every email will have the story and the instructions for the quilt?
Yeah, so there are a couple of places that you can go for this information. So the email will provide the clue to you. And then there is a whole community on Facebook. So we've got a Facebook group with people who are participating in the Tiny Apple Mystery. And that's where we're going to have stories. That's where we're going to post these videos so that you can watch along with the clues. We'll have helpful, like, I would call it how-to or maybe some helpful tips videos as you're going through it. Yeah, so that is Mystery 5.0. The other thing I will point out is there were a couple of mini mysteries to just kind of wet our whistle to get things flowing with this. And so that mini mystery is still available on our Facebook site.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to Facebook, actually just click on the QR code, there'll be a link to get to Facebook. That's probably the easiest way. And you can still participate in that mini mystery. It'll make a little block that's 21 inches square. We turned ours into a pillow. You could do a table topper, but it was really just fun to get the vibe of Laura and the clues
Yeah,
and
that's
how
a
they
good
come
point.
out. And
So
the
you
different,
can understand how it's going to be when you get into the big project. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm really glad that we could so quickly off the bat here offer something I think really fun, and I hope you guys are really excited about it too.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are going to do it. And like this time of year, you want to be like inside hiding from the air, from the heat, right? So like something cool to sew while you're hiding from the heat. Who doesn't want that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I know that we had talked a little bit earlier about how you'd never heard of this. Do you think we got all of your questions answered? Did we get everybody's questions? You can throw it
Yeah,
in the chat.
definitely.
And we're happy to answer
If
it.
you've been watching and we confuse the hell out of you, tell us in the comments and we will try to clarify. I think that my main questions were answered, which is how big is the quilt? And it's a throw size quilt. What was the dimension again?
56 by
56 by
72.
So that's a good size for throw size. You can either join by buying a $50 gift certificate or by buying one of the kits that Allison has put together. Either option is what gets you into the program. You're going to start sewing beginning of August, like August 6th, and it takes about 5 weeks to finish. Yes. I feel like that's a kind of an aggressive timeline, so I'm guessing not everyone was going to finish in 5 weeks, but is there a prize to finish on time or anything like that? No? Okay. No pressure.
No. We will be there for you whenever you finish.
Yeah, I think that was all. Oh yeah, and the kits are shipping now. So if you order now, you'll have them in hand by the time it starts.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know that I have any other questions, but if anyone else has a question, just put it in the chat and we will answer it. You can also, if you think of something later, you can also email us. It's info@gothamquilts.com. And now Allison also gets those emails, so she'll be able to answer the question because, of course, I'm not going to know the answer. Probably.
Happy to answer all of the questions.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about or any?
Mystery bow, I think we've got that covered. The other thing I'm excited to tease is our topic for next week.
So we actually already know what we're talking about next week, which is like a minor miracle, especially considering all the transition that we're going through right now. So next week we are officially debuting our next retreat, which technically we kind of did last week, but now we're really doing it next week.
Yes. So really excited to talk through all the fun things that are going to happen as part of the retreat. And we'll plan on all these meetings, give you a little update as to when things will be starting to turn back on. So
what we used to do is at the end of the call, we would do like housekeeping, right? So it was like if a block of the month was about to ship, or if I don't know, something was on back order, or if something was on pre-order and we just found out it was going to be delayed, like those kinds of things we would always cover at the end of the call. And half the time one of us would forget and then like, it's cash.
Really cash.
I don't see any questions, so I guess we did a pretty good job explaining.
That's what I'm going to chalk it up to. Is that we're good explainers.
Yeah. So I guess that's basically it for today. If anyone does come up with anything they'd like clarification on, they can always send an email, info@gothamquilts.com, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks for coming. And do you want to do the sign off, Allison? Say, we'll be back next week.
Oh my gosh. I will give it a go because once you once you do a bad sign off, it's only up from there. So thank you all so much for joining us, whether you're live or on the replay. Thanks, Yvette, for asking some really good questions about Mystery 5.0, and we will see you next week.
We'll be back at
Am I missing
6:30
something?
on Tuesday night, 6:30 Eastern time on Tuesday night. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Probably a good idea to tell people.
Have a good night.